Hello there, and welcome back. Tonight we will embark on a gentle journey through the calm and intriguing realm of Mars. So settle in and allow yourself to drift toward rest as we explore the rust-colored beauty that has fascinated curious minds for generations. Fall asleep with the gentle wonders of the red planet vertical bar. Fun facts about Mars. Picture, if you will, a tranquil landscape bathed in a soft glow, the horizon tinted in mild reds and golds, where ancient riverbeds stretch across the terrain like subtle etchings, hinting at the story of a once more temperate environment. The surface is uniquely dusted with iron oxide, giving it that signature hue that has inspired its timeless nickname. For those gazing from afar, it may appear small, almost humble, yet the landscape beckons us closer, offering discoveries that mirror our own world in surprising ways. Even though Mars is about half the diameter of Earth, it still features dramatic geological formations that spark quiet awe. One could imagine standing at the edge of a canyon called Valles Marineris, an enormous scar across the surface that extends for thousands of kilometers, a cut in the ground so deep that if you peered over its rim, you might feel the same hush you experience at the edge of the grandest valley imaginable. And then we come to Olympus Mons, a towering volcanic giant that stands around 3 times the height of Mount Everest, reminding us that in this peaceful corner of space, magnificent feats of nature can arise in the most unexpected places. As you listen calmly, let your mind drift to a time when liquid water is believed to have shaped the landscape of Mars. We see hints of ancient river valleys carved through rock, testaments to a different climatic chapter in the planet's story. Imagine narrow channels winding through the dusty plateaus, shaping the terrain eons ago. The reason for this shift, from water-sculpted vistas to today's arid fields, continues to be studied, but it is believed that over countless years the thinning of the atmosphere gradually exposed the surface to a harsher environment. Yet even in current times, ice is still found locked away beneath polar caps and in certain shadows of craters. This ice, frozen in place, may offer hints to potential reservoirs of water retained below ground, quietly preserving secrets about the planet's past. Take a moment to let that quiet imagery sweep gently through your thoughts. The atmosphere is thin, composed mostly of carbon dioxide, and though it passes only a fraction of the pressure experienced at sea level on Earth, it is still enough to create phenomena like dust storms. These storms can spring up in dusty regions, swirling into towering pillars of red-brown clouds that lead the eye in broad arcs across the landscape. Occasionally, these storms become so extensive that they can encompass much of the planet, veiling landforms in a reddish haze for weeks at a time. Imagine standing in a gentle twilight as one of those storms forms far off on the horizon, slowly dancing across the ground, propelled by faint winds that carry granules of fine dust aloft, shifting dunes and carving new shapes into the surface. The dust, so pervasive on Mars, gently sculpts the land, revealing subtle changes from season to season. And yes, the red planet experiences seasons, thanks to a tilt in its axis that is similar to Earth's, although the length and intensity of those seasons differ because of its more elongated path around the Sun. A Martian year lasts roughly 687 Earth days, so imagine a winter that lingers, a summer that extends, each bringing changes in temperature and light that slowly sweep across the landscape. In the southern hemisphere, winters can be especially cold, leading to the formation of carbon dioxide frost on the surface, so that in some places you'd see a thin, ghostly shimmer of frost on the dry ground. The transitions between these seasons occur gradually, conjuring mental images of softly changing skies, with dusty sunsets that carry a subtle blue tinge. Interestingly, the length of a day on Mars, often called a sol, is about 24 hours and 39 minutes, just slightly longer than our own day, which means that a day there would feel familiar, yet with a subtle shift in the timing of dawns and dusks over weeks and months. Allow your mind to settle on that near-Earth-like sense of time, a quiet anchor that makes Mars seem, in some intangible way, more relatable. We also have to wander gently through the question of the planet's two small moons, often described as irregular lumps of rock, each a fraction of the size of Earth's moon. They are called Phobos and Deimos, and some theories suggest they might have once been asteroids captured by the planet's gravity. Phobos orbits closer, racing around Mars in a quick cycle of about 8 hours, while Deimos drifts at a more measured pace. Whether captured or formed from debris left behind by an impact, their presence overhead could be quite a sight from the Martian surface, tiny satellites moving silently across the sky. Imagine lying back in a warm protective suit on the quiet surface, gazing up at a dusky sky as these small moons drift across, subtle reminders of cosmic interplay. Meanwhile, as we shift our gaze from the sky to the ground, we find that the planet's dusty plains and cratered highlands intersect with geological marvels that speak to us of a deep and varied history. Rocks scattered along crater floors and ancient flood channels hint at stories of collisions from long ago, and a possible time when water flowed more abundantly. In some areas, the dusty surface can present breathtaking vistas at sunset, the faint, fragile Martian atmosphere scattering the sunlight in such a way that the descending sun might glow with gentle hues quite different from those we see on Earth. Perhaps at dusk, under these quiet, ruddy skies, your thoughts might drift to how small we all are in this grand tapestry of cosmic neighborhoods, marveling at how a dusty, seemingly barren world could hold so many clues to planetary evolution. As you relax, let the softly swirling dust devils cross your imagination, ephemeral whirls of dust carried on faint breezes. Though they rise and disperse silently, they gradually shape the terrain, forming new patches of layered soil. Some dust devils can be large enough to be seen from high above, leaving traces as they pass across plains and hills, much like footprints that eventually fade away. These phenomena remind us that even on a quiet desert world, there can be subtle movement, slow rhythms that are easy to overlook but persist backgrounds of calm. The polar regions, crowned with icy caps, offer another gentle picture for contemplation. In the northern cap, ice made from water and carbon dioxide accumulates during winter, then partially melts away in summer, leaving behind layers that record climate fluctuations over millennia. Much like tree rings can tell us about our terrestrial past, IZ-1 deposits on Mars could chronicle changes in inclination and weather patterns long gone. Imagine drifting across that frozen terrain in your mind, hearing nothing but the gentle whisper of the breeze, gazing over ridges that shift from bright white to dusty red in the changing light. Some have speculated that layers in those caps, meticulously stacked, might hide records of ancient climates, hinting at times when Mars might have been warmer or more humid. And so in these polar deposits, we see a quiet library of geological memory. Take a few slow breaths and envision that library existing in stillness, waiting to be read. Then cast your thoughts toward times of possible habitability, those epochs in which water may have pooled in lakes and shallow seas. Ancient deltas stand as quiet testaments to water's presence, shaped by sediment once carried by flowing streams. While the surface now sits exposed to colder temperatures and a thin atmosphere, the notion of life having ever found a foothold stirs a gentle sense of wonder. The search for microbial remnants, if any exist, is an ongoing puzzle that may quietly unfold in the future, as instruments carefully examine rocks and soils. But tonight, while you rest, there is no urgency, only the silent drift of ideas, the soft question echoing across the ages. Without any rush, allow that question to flow away as you breathe. Think now of the temperature fluctuations, from frigid nights when the air can dip far below freezing to milder midday warmth that touches the dusty ground. Such wide variation can crack rocks, creating small areas where they crumble into dust, adding to the swirling storms. Over eons, this slow weathering has given Mars a rugged but ancient facade, each crack a symbol of time passing quietly. As you float through this calm narrative, you might picture those stony fields slowly breaking down beneath softly shifting skies, an unhurried but certain reshaping of the world's surface. Another fascinating detail is how lighter parts of the ground sometimes show older bedrock, possibly uncovered by meteor impacts or geological uplifting. These patches can appear like windows into the deeper geology, each unveiling layers that might hold more clues to the transformations Mars has undergone. Over billions of years, we believe volcanic activity shaped entire regions, depositing lava flows that cooled into basaltic plains. Later, the quiet winds and stark temperature contrasts gradually etched these plains, leaving behind everything from towering volcanoes to subtle ridges. Imagine in your reverie, gently running your hand across one of these ridges, feeling the sculpting forces of time. Even though the planet lacks a global magnetic field today, there may once have been a more robust field that gradually subsided. Without that protective envelope, the surface became more vulnerable to solar radiation, which may have contributed to the gradual depletion of atmospheric gases. As you sink deeper into relaxation, consider the planet's quiet acceptance of these changes, rolling through its history with no haste, no sense of alarm, only a slow, patient transformation. Perhaps you can let your own breathing slow to match that timeless rhythm, letting tension dissipate. When we consider everything from these ancient valleys to those polar ice caps, from powerfully strong dust storms to delicate morning frosts, we see how Mars merges elements oddly familiar with those intriguingly foreign. Some aspects parallel Earth, a similar length of day seasons due to axial tilt, and yet it remains distant in its environment, its thin air offering only a faint whisper where we might expect a howling gale. Over many years of study, we've gleaned more and more glimpses into the planet's surface composition, discovering that iron oxide is the source of that hallmark color, coating rocks in a dusty red film. Let your mind settle on that soothing shade, an earthy tone that might remind you of desert sunsets here at home. This similarity offers a calm sense of connection, bridging the gap in our imaginations between the comfortable place where we lay our heads and the distant terrain that we might only visit through our dreams. As we follow the path of a slow Martian sunrise, rays of soft light stretch across ridges and crater rims, gently illuminating dusty landscapes once obscured by night shadows. In that weak daylight, the ground warms gradually, and any overnight frosts evaporate into the thin air, to be carried away by the next breeze. Far away from the dust-laden plains, the highlands remain dotted with impact craters of varying sizes, each telling a chapter in a story of collisions from long ago. Some craters hold signs that water once pooled within them, forming ephemeral lakes that might have supported possible microenvironments. In others you can find wind-sculpted dunes that decorate the crater floors, leading to ever-evolving shapes that shift slowly but persistently with the passing seasons. In colder latitudes, layering in the subsurface might reveal residual ice from old climates, while at the edges of polar caps, deep canyons sometimes carve paths through sedimentary layers, exposing intricate patterns of dust and ice laid down over countless cycles. If you let your mind gently wander across these layered cliffs, you might sense the slow pace at which the planet reveals its hidden chapters, as if nature itself is in no hurry to disclose its secrets. The presence of water ice clouds in the sky at times adds another subtle dimension. These clouds can form at high altitudes and drift softly across the horizon, sometimes appearing as thin wisps that catch the early morning or late evening light. Imagine the delicate glow of these clouds, tinted by the dusty atmosphere, drifting gently overhead while the ground below remains silent and still. It is a peaceful image, perfect for a late evening reflection. One of the more dramatic phenomena we might contemplate is the planet-wide dust storm, which can escalate from a small patch of swirling dust to a continent-spanning event. Over days or weeks, that dust is lifted high into the atmosphere, sometimes obscuring surface features from orbit. While these storms might sound tumultuous, there is still an eeriness to them. The wind is mild by Earth standards, but because the airborne particles are so fine they can remain suspended, enveloping everything in a diffuse red hue. Then as the storm subsides, the dust settles back down, painting new layers over surfaces. This cyclical scouring perpetuates a quiet, slow-motion metamorphosis of the land. Consistent with that theme of steady change is the intriguing tilt of the planet's axis, which is believed to alter significantly over long time scales, affecting the extent of polar ice and leading to shifts in where and how frost might accumulate. This ongoing dance of orientation, rotation, and orbit becomes part of the planet's story, and maybe, as you breathe more deeply, you sense how all these dynamic processes still occur with a gentle calm. Mars's surface gravity is roughly 38% of Earth's. So if you could stand on that dusty soil, you would experience a lightness in your step, able to move more effortlessly. Perhaps you would bounce gently across small dunes, or carefully hop among scattered rocks. This reduced gravity might be comforting in its own way, like a soothing dream where your steps weigh less on your mind. Envision yourself exploring a quiet crater, an empty horizon stretching out, the sky tinted in a subdued pinkish hue, accompanied only by your own gentle breathing sounds. Over time, you might come across new vantage points overlooking basalt plains, shaped by ancient eruptions, or stumble upon steep gullies along crater walls that might have carried water in more recent epochs. Everywhere you go, a dusty patina covers rock and soil, muffling the environment in a quiet hush. Yet the sense of old stories is constant, like faint echoes of a time when water shaped the terrain. It is easy to slip deeper into contemplation. You might reflect on how the dryness of Mars preserves certain features for eons, so that footprints in the dust, if made, could remain for far longer than on Earth. A sense of timelessness permeates daily life there. It's a land that moves in slow motion, where changes in the environment happen at a whisper, often imperceptible over a single year. That slow pace and minimal atmosphere give it a peaceful, almost meditative quality. perfect for letting thoughts settle and for drifting into quiet reflection. Imagine running your hand across fine red dust, letting it slip through your fingers, drifting downward in a graceful arc. Then turn your gaze to the horizon, noticing how ridges fade into the distance under the gentle glow of afternoon light, before the longer twilight approaches and the temperature drops once again. As the evening deepens, both tiny moons might appear on different corners of the sky, one crossing overhead more swiftly than the other. Both small and unblink, they would slowly complete their nightly dance without fanfare, underscoring the peaceful continuity of this world. You might rest your back against a rock, feeling the day's warmth radiating from it, while a thin breeze brings the scent of rocky dust. Beneath those quiet skies, you slip into a renewed state of calm. The thought of those two moons, possibly captured from elsewhere, only adds to the sense that Mars collects and preserves unique pieces of cosmic history. When you reflect on the notion that Mars once had cycles of water flow, possibly lakes or shallow seas, it offers a subtle parallel to Earth's story of shaping landmasses. Though everything seems hushed now, the planet stores that watery past like an old memory, locked in its minerals, waiting for gentle curiosity to probe. Some channels carved into the soil provide evidence of catastrophic floods that might have occurred long ago, releasing water across broad regions at once. Yet in the present day, the environment fosters dryness, leaving behind salt deposits and geologic clues strewn across crater floors. Each piece of evidence is carefully studied, but for now, as you listen, you can simply bask in the idea that Mars' environment has had a layer above and from wet times to dusty centuries. You might feel a curious sense of kinship with this world's long transformation, paralleling how we change across time. Perhaps in this softened mindset, we can contemplate the mysteries of Earth and Mars as cosmic companions, each spinning with a tip, each unveiling new secrets with every passing day was solved by the own histories of volcanic activity, weathering, and potential for life. Mars, with its faint but present atmosphere, allows an occasional whisper of wind to blow across its slopes, stirring dust and sand, a jet that brings new color to footprints or rover tracks. The dust, so ubiquitous, can coat surfaces, and might even allow for a sense of drifting illusion. As vantage points swirl in subtle air, you might find comfort in imagining explorers, whether robotic or human, tiptoe across the surface, carefully studying the ground. Step by step, each discovery quietly adds to our knowledge, not just Mars, but about how environments can evolve. This sense of discovery might bring a reflective calm, reminding us that, even though we encounter dryness and dust storms, quiet valleys and hidden oases exist, waiting to be known. Each site on Mars can tell a different story, from the ancient highlands dotted by countless to the smoother northern lowlands, where, once upon a time, water might have collected in great expanses. And high above, if you gaze across the horizon, you might see the Earth's layered hill in the distance, shaped by worlds, windless, mind of universe, winter folders, of space, soaking in the heights, where you can only look unhurried, calm. Mars also experiences variations in how thick its carbon dioxide ice caps become, especially when its axis tilt changes significantly over thousands or millions of years.
During some periods, the poles might accumulate more frozen carbon dioxide, while in others, it might sublimate into the air, slightly increasing atmospheric density. It's a cyclical shift that, on our timescales, feels timeless and carries on steadily. Tonight you can think of these cycles as gentle rhythmic expansions and contractions of the Earth's caps, a heartbeat of sorts that resonates across Martian history over billions of years. The dust surface has recorded many tales: the slow retreat of water, the rise of volcanic provinces, the shaping of massive canyons, and the capture or formation of two. All of these stories lie scattered across the terrain, waiting to be read by those with persistent curiosity. And yet, in this moment of repose, you need not solve every puzzle. Instead, breathe in softly and exhale any lingering tension, letting your mind relax. Wounding knowledge its cosmic neighborhood, continuing its steady story. That knowledge can be strangely comforting, an assurance that, amid the darkness genial good, some may wonder what could be hidden underground. Could there be aquifers, or mineral veins that speak of a watery past, or briny pockets that have persisted? For now that remains part of the charm, a piece of the unknown that lingers until discovered. Even the map of the Martian interior suggests a composition laid differently than our home, possibly with a smaller core and a crust that once supported extensive volcanic activity. Over time, geologic shifts shaped the mantle, and the planet's once active magnetic field flickered and diminished. With that shift, the skies grew less protected, and the cosmic environment bore away the atmosphere bit by bit. Visualize the gentle In some craters, the dust might be inches thick, forming fields of fine silt that shift just as fine silt that shift gradually. And among these dunes, you might see patterns rippling across the surface, shaped by the direction and strength of the faint winds that blow. Some areas near the poles may carry swirling patterns of layered deposits, each telling a tale of past climate cycles. While these layers appear subtle from ground level, from above they look like graceful spirals in the surface, mesmerizing to envision. In quiet reflection, you sense how these patterns reflect a harmony of slow planetary motions, continue drifting through that hush. We could imagine how, during times when the tilt is at a different angle, the distribution of frost across latitudes might alter, leading not just to different seasonal cycles, but possibly to times when ice accumulates in mid-latitude regions. All these possibilities form a tapestry of climates woven over millions of years. In the midst of that vast time scale, you can let your mind float gently, as if unweighted by gravity, content in the knowledge that not everything needs to be hurried or known right this moment. Mars stands as a testament to slow transformations, quiet shifts, and it fosters a sense that sometimes stillness can uncover deeper truths. If you find your thoughts drifting, simply let them float naturally, returning your focus now and then to the soft hush of this Martian landscape. As the sun sets on that distant horizon, the sky might deepen from a dusty hue into a soft twilight, with the ground losing its warmth and the air chilling swiftly. In the faint light, you might see those thin clouds glowing softly overhead, accompanied by one or both of the small moons crossing the sky. You may sense the ground underfoot, the dust beneath your boots, the gentle slope of a crater rim, and the calm hush of the still air as you stand there. Let that serene image cradle your tired mind, inviting you to let go of the cares of the day. You might recall that, from a distance, Mars appears as a small red light in Earth's night sky, just another neighbor in our cosmic neighborhood. But in these moments of reflection, you understand how richly layered it is, how many wonders it conceals beneath its dust-laden planet, how it quietly mirrors and contrasts with our home world. The magnetic field, once stronger, has faded. The water, once abundant, has retreated. But in that transformation lies a quiet grace, a story of survival under thinner skies. Even as you settle deeper, the calm presence of Mars remains. Some nights, if you were resting on the surface, you might see faint starlight glimmer overhead. The mild hush of the environment would remind you that this land has watched eons pass, that it has weathered the fall of meteorites, endured storms that blanketed its surface, and witnessed a slow but unstoppable chain of changes. Breathe in and let that sense of time expand. Each moment might connect you to bygone ages of rivers and volcanic eruptions, to future possibilities of exploration and discovery, as though Mars itself were a patient keeper of knowledge. If your eyes grow heavy, let them close and imagine yourself lying back, gazing up one last time at that dusty sky. The dryness of the air, the hush that envelops you, the subtle taste of iron-tinged dust drifting past, everything merges into a soothing scene of quiet. In that quiet, no alarms ring, no bright lights flash, only the endless presence of an ancient environment that has quietly endured. And so as you drift gently and let the day's tension dissolve, keep a touch of that calm sensation with you, a reminder that even in a place as seemingly stark as Mars, there is beauty, motion and comfort in change. Picture the last gloaming of a Martian day, the light receding behind outcrops and craters, the temperature dropping as the wind lessens, the dust storms settling, the faint echoes of the planet's history drifting off into the night. Fall asleep with Mars, a cosmic neighbor's quiet mysteries. Vertical bar fun facts about Mars. Now let us gently conclude our slow passage through Martian science, pondering how this quietly resilient world stands as a testament to both planetary evolution and the enduring mysteries hidden across red wind-swept plains. May these reflections on the rust-toned terrain and ancient river valleys accompany you into a place of restful silence. Thank you for joining me on this calm exploration tonight. Close your eyes now and allow the serene stillness of Mars to lull you into a gentle slumber. And as you rest, let the dust storms settle, the sky darken, and a soft peace descend. Good night, and sleep well.